Hey guys, today I'm going to be introducing my first ever open world Scooby-Doo game called Scooby-Doo Mysteries Unlocked. This game is highly inspired by the Arkham games when it comes to open world side missions. The only difference is, even though this may go a little bit dark, there's also going to be where it's going to be stuck to its true features of, campiness. The mechanics here are a bit different than the Batman games because, unlike Batman, Scooby-Doo, and the whole game, some of them do know karate, but they're not exactly Batman. So they're very different. Their personalities are very different. It's more than just one person. So this game can also play as a multiplayer game or where you have to use specific characters for certain tactics to take down the monsters. Also, my idea of the game is bringing classics where the most popular will probably be in the main story and maybe even side missions, and the least popular that are still fan favorites nonetheless will be part of the side mission. But this is just the starting point of the game, and I am still coming up with ideas for the game as I introduce the Prologue, which is Act 1 Prologue, which I'm going to be starting now. The story starts off with Mystery Inc. hanging out in their headquarters. Fred and Daphne play air hockey in the game room. Velma is showing resting on the couch and reading some book. Scooby and Shaggy, as always, were in the kitchen coming up with some odd dish, as they always do. Suddenly, alarms go off, and the gang find themselves meeting in the main center of their headquarters, where screens are everywhere. So, my inspiration for this, to give them a certain headquarters, was from Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. It was a classic movie, and I thought it would be cool to bring that main headquarters back to show, after so many years, they're a bit older, they're adults now, they went through a lot of experience. It says, there's a news reporter on screen claiming that all the criminals that Mr. Inc. have fought and sent to Crystal Cove Insane Asylum are now roaming the streets of Coolsville in Crystal Cove. So, Crystal Cove Asylum is usually for animals within Mystery Incorporated, that TV show, and I took inspiration from there, but I took out all these insane animals and put in the criminals that Scooby-Doo and the game fought, or Mystery Inc. fought, and said, here are certain villains, for example, those like from Scooby-Doo Where Are You, and What's New Scooby-Doo, etc., are all in that asylum. It pretty much plays out as their own version of Arkham Asylum, with their foes. Also, within the map, you get an open world space where you get the big, more modern city, classy type of city, of course, for the modern generation, which is Coolsville, beautiful, wide, and everything to like. While Crystal Cove is on the other side, and it's more old school, old town type of thing. It's pretty much like the outskirts of a big city, where the small towns surround it. And you will solve mysteries between the two. Continuing on, there is some dialogue here where Velma says, "Jinkies, who would do such a thing?" Daphne says, "Every single monster?" Fred says, "Time for round 2 again. Let's send these creepy crooks back to where they belong." And Shaggy says, "Like Fred, I wish you didn't say that. It wasn't easy the first time. I really don't want to revisit the past now." Scooby-Doo says, "Yeah, me either." The gang head out immediately. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, dragged by Fred and Daphne, as the two boys protest that they would stay and enjoy some delicious delights at home. Once entering the mystery machine, as you can see, the player is able to drive out towards Coolsville. Now, credits are open at this time, and it helps you do a tutorial a bit of how to drive through Coolsville with the controls as Fred or Daphne or whoever you want to drive as. I would say you get to pick as a character in this one of who you want to play the most, and who you want to be the driver. So that will be your choice there. Each character has their different characteristics within the game. So Fred is more of the trap guy, and you just brag about that. His gadgets, his traps, his techniques, and everything. You just hear that throughout the whole dialogue. And that's what he's used for, is this trap master. Daphne is more getting out of situations when she has skills in karate, and she's also a makeup tutorialist. So, she uses her skills with that, kind of like Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. You tie in Scooby-Doo 1 and Scooby-Doo 2, also showing the cartoons, she was very good in martial arts. Velma, skills with chemistry and all likes of science. So, she's probably going to use a lot of chemicals to get out of stuff. And she's probably going to do a lot of investigation. She's more like a female Batman in this stance, where she's going to find those clues and discover the chemicals. She's going to know the forensics of things, because she's the really smart brainiac one. Well, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, with the mechanics, they're going to be all goofy and probably talk about food a lot. And most of the time, I think with Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, with how frightened they are and in a panic, I'm probably going to let them have their own options of Shaggy being able to throw stuff at the villain while trying to run away, and Scooby-Doo being a little bit more cartoony with what he does, kind of like what happened in Cartoon Network as well, where he, in Curse of the Lake Monster, where he paints a wall and it discovers a tunnel and he runs through it. I want Scooby-Doo to be campy and cartoony like that. Like, he just kind of does whatever he wants. Bizarre acts, bizarre attacks that will be there. I would say, kind of like the old Scooby-Doo games, there will probably be gadgets dropped around. Not just hanging around anywhere, but there will be real materials that Mystery Inc. will be hey, let's use this for that. So it would be a way to suit up, to be a little bit more challenging for the villains. But I want each character to be able to have a certain gadget to their own. I would want them to be unique and very distinctive from one another when it comes to this. And so that's just the thought process of the player playing each character. Of course, you can play a character throughout the whole game if you want, but I will say there are certain tactics that maybe throughout some of the game that you can't just play that character, that you would have to use a different character for a certain situation because they're good at that certain situation. Because I want the game to be a dynamic thing where Mystery Inc. comes together and forms together within the story. That all these characters are formed into one. They're called Mystery Inc. That they shouldn't be separated in any other way within the main story. They should be used for specific topics in situations in troubling times. Even if it's Shaggy and Scooby-Doo run away from a situation, that's bound to happen. That's who they are. But, so, to continue on, as you're driving to Coolsville, the credit scenes come on, and then for a few seconds, the game starts and fades out into the sky, where it shows the font title of Scooby-Doo Mysteries Unlocked with eerie music. And this is to bring the old classic Scooby-Doo type of font as usual when the movie begins. So it kind of feels like a movie starting up, kind of like Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed or your regular cartoons, kind of like Scooby-Doo Zombie Island and all that. And this will lead to Act 1, Mission 1.
I also want to note that I don't own any of the art here. This is a lot of art that I just took from Monsters Unleashed, Mystery Incorporated, Scooby-Doo Where Are You, stuff that I googled to use as a certain example of what the game would be like. The same thing with the font. It's nothing really creative or imaginative. It's just what I had to use because in the end of the day, I'm not really a game developer. This is more like a what if I made a Scooby-Doo open world game. It's the same thing that happened with Batman Dark Knights when you guys saw the opening. This is the same situation. But with further ado, please let me know what you guys think. If you liked the prologue so far, if there were some confusing things in it, I tried to make it simple as possible to say, hey, I continued. There may be one time I didn't say, hey, let's continue back to the dialogue, but hopefully you guys just caught on with that. But with further ado, please let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions for the game, mission-wise, villain-wise, go ahead and comment down below what they are, and I'll see you guys in the next video.